justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Crowley.
Present.
Legislator Yonke. Chairman Elner.
Here. Next item on the agenda is discussion approvals for the Putnam County Early Learning Center. And it says that our Public Health Director, Rhiann Rodriguez, you're up. And we also have Valerie Kurtz.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Would you like to start?
Sure. Well, good evening. I'd like to start by thanking the Legislative Committee and members of the Putnam County community at large for your willingness to thoroughly consider the drafted resolution for the Putnam County Early Learning Center. Tonight, I'd like to refocus our efforts around a formal endorsement of the Early Learning Center at InterArts so that we can continue to meet the imminent timelines associated with launching this program by September. Together, we can co-create an early childhood instructional delivery model in the general education classroom setting while providing necessary services locally to our differently abled students and their families. So to that end, I respectfully invite the legislative body to support our creation of the Putnam County Early Learning Center. Thank you for your consideration, partnership, and support. I'd like to open it up to the legislature to see if there are any final questions pending or concerns we can address.
Okay. Anybody on the committee have any questions? Legislator Yonke, you have the floor.
At one of the prior meetings, and it may have taken place in executive session, I asked a question, and I don't think this is an executive session question. How were the lease rates arrived at? Were any appraisals done to determine what the county would be paying?
Through the chair, I think this is an executive session question because it has to do with the negotiations of the lease.
It's not the negotiation, it's how something was established.
Right, but necessarily that would involve.
All right, maybe let me change the question, and maybe, how much are we paying for rent?
So actually, Bill, we broke it down to...
There's a lot of information in these sheets, and there's a lot...
Well, I wanted to make sure you got everything you need.
Yeah.
I can tell you that for the first... Correct sheet up.
Excuse me, Bill, if you would be so kind as to break it down for the long-term large space lease versus the what has been termed the contingency lease, please.
Yeah, we're talking about two leases, so if you could just give me both of them, if you don't mind.
Okay. Let's start with your first question, though. How's that? So if you look at this one, I don't know if you have you should have the forms on it. It's lease year 1 through year 5. That answers all your questions there. So it's $15 per square foot is what they're charging us on 12,028 square feet. That comes to $15,035 per month, or $180 a year. Then there's, of course, the total build-out cost, which you can see below that is $2.2 million.
So it's gone up from 1.5 when we last met to 2.2 million.
What was added to this is the interest at 7.5%.
So.
And if you go, I have a breakdown of that, but it's $580,000 is what the interest charge is. And that's where the difference went from one number to the 2.2. So breaking that down, for the first 5 years, that'll be an additional $23.78 per square foot, or your total for $38.78. That answer your question, I think? Yeah.
That does answer my question.
Okay.
But for that type of, I've done my research since our last meetings, for that type of space, $38, almost $39 a square foot is far in excess of what the market rent for that type of space is.
I can't answer that question.
You know, it's not, it's a statement, it's a statement.
I don't know the rate, so I defer that question, or statement.
And we would include that, that is also part of the build-out costs there. So, I would imagine the caveat there being, depending on the space that would be rented, for a turnkey space, obviously that per square footage cost would be much less.
Which is what I'm getting at. This is only a 5-year commitment. So we're investing over $2 million into a 5-year commitment.
Well, it'd be
Actually gets
1.43 for the first 5 years, because you're only paying 65% of that
Correct.
number.
Is the interest, the $580,000 of interest is spread out over how long?
I'm not sure. The 580 interest.
As far as the interest, it's going to depend on, some factors. It's going to depend on whether or not you exercise Legislator Ellner's thing and pay an amount up front, because you're not going to be paying interest on the entire amount. You'd only be paying it on the remaining.
Let's put that on the side for now. I think it's a great idea, but as it's in the plan right now, how long is that spread out over in the current plan?
Well, it's a 10-year, it would be a 10-year build-out and everything, and we were exercising only an option for 5 years, so we would only be paying on the 5-year portion with an option to continue on, and we'd only be paying a 65%. So we would be paying 65% of whatever amount is actually financed, which remains to be seen depending on what we pay up front or what we don't.
If I may, Paul, I just want to interject. One of the things that I wanted, look, first of all, everybody, I want this to happen, plain and simple, okay? I want to get to the right place, so it's going to be the best possible that we can. And these increased costs, originally we were talking that there was nothing that would have prevented us from paying it completely up front. The version that I have in front of me now limits the amount that we're.
No, there's no limit on it. The thing is this, is if we pay everything up front, we avoid finance altogether. The downside with that is that limits whether or not we are going to have an option, because right now we're only committing to 5 years with an option to then renew for another 5 years.
Right,
If we
except.
pay it all up front, then we are limiting our own option to get out of it, because we'd be paying up front for something that we may only use 5 years of.
There's something that is in the lease, and I don't want to go for executive session, but it specifically limits the amount that we can pay. This is in section 3.
If we're going to get into the lease specifics, I think that we need to go into executive.
Okay,
session.
so what I would prefer, if we could ask all the questions while the public is here before we go into executive session, and I apologize to the public. I really wanted to have a number of preliminary meetings so it wouldn't be necessary to go into executive session, but okay. So that's something that we can't talk about in public. Sorry, Legislator Yonke, if you would continue.
Yeah, no, thank you. I want to ask as many questions for the public to hear as possible. Is there any reason why we didn't seek the advice of a real estate professional, a consultant, an appraiser to determine what a market rate is? Because if we're going to spend all this money for a 5-year commitment, I don't understand why we would do something for a short term like that. Does anybody have an answer for that? Why we would only think about 5 years?
Well, they're envisioning 10 years, but the thing is that we don't have a crystal ball as far as funding what New York State is going to do, how New York State is going to do these programs, and so it would be irresponsible to undertake a full 10 years without having, knowing what New York State is going to do. So there's these programs, have a multitude of factors. There's what we're doing, but then there's also a state component of it. If New York State just decided for whatever reason they were going to defund programs of this nature, it would be important for the county to have a mechanism by which to get out of that. So we want to this provides us with that flexibility while everyone fully envisions, exactly as you said, if we're going to invest this, we're planning on doing it for the 10 years, but we want to make sure that we have the flexibility in the case that all of New York State doesn't feel that way.
Even 10 years to me is short-term. As I've said in meetings before, I'm in support of this because I've been affected by having a child that had to travel a long distance early in her life, and I'm interested in getting this done. But even a 10-year, the thought of only 10 years, it sounds like a short period of time.
I think that, listen, that sort of support for long-term support of something that impacts special needs children is really admirable, and it's important, but unfortunately, we don't know that that same support is going to exist forever during New York State, so the county commits things in chunks and periods to allow us for the flexibility to deal with things that are outside of our control and factors that are outside.
So if New York State cuts their funding, we're just going to walk away from this?
No, but we might need to envision a different set of negotiated standards to make sure that we account for the new budget requirements that continuing the program might entail. So it allows the legislature to have the flexibility to accommodate things under any circumstance, even the things outside of our control.
Our job is to spend the taxpayers' money as wisely as we can. I look at this as if it was my own money, and if I had a business, there's no way I would sign a lease like this. It's excessive. We're building something, number one, aside from the fact that we're building something that's already in existence in not just one spot in the county or near this facility, we're building something brand new that doesn't need to be built, and then we're spending money that we shouldn't be spending. And we haven't consulted with real estate consultants. I don't know what to do.
Erin?
Thank you, Chairman Elner. We've had this on the calendar for several months, the last meeting, or agenda, give or take, and we've had information in front of us for several months. And at the last meeting, we were
Finances for about a month.
Yeah, finances for about a month, but we were told that we needed to ask all and every question, and we all collectively agreed to that, so that we would have everything hashed out so that we could make this dream for many families come to fruition. I guess my question is to Legislator Yonke, and I don't mean to single you out, but why didn't you present these questions to legal before to make sure that any of your questions could have been answered, and maybe another draft could have been drawn up for 20 years or whatever you were looking at?
I'm not asking to redraw anything. I'm asking questions about what's being presented to us tonight.
You're asking for a 20, why, I just want to be clear. And
I'm asking questions.
Okay.
That's my job. That's my job.
Legislator Yonke, I'm not being combative. I'm just asking if you were looking for a 20-year lease, that's something that could have been looked at too. If
I wasn't asking for a 20-year lease. I was asking why it was not entertained. I was asking why real estate professionals were not consulted.
I was just wondering why we didn't bring that up as a question to the people that are running this project so that we could have all the answers.
There's a lot of information. This project's been in the works for over a year. I found out about it at a presentation in April. We've had literally a month and a half to go over all of this. These are leases. I'm not an attorney. I'm very familiar with reading leases, but I'm not an attorney.
If we can provide some additional information for you.
I did consult Kathleen Abel.
Not a real estate professional.
And she also connected me with Angela Briganti.
Briganti.
Yes. So I did have conversations with them. So it's not like.
What did Angela say about the price per square foot?
I don't remember. That's not
That's
my
important.
forte.
Okay.
But whatever we discussed, even Kathleen said that these are all like, she brought us around to all these different places with Dr. Najawat and everything, so we did look at all those places, and that's why we continue to feel that this is the best place for us.
I'm not talking about the other places anymore. I'm talking about this place and what's in front of us tonight. Okay, and the build out and the cost to do all of this, and the length of time that it's going to take to get our kids into this facility is all in consideration. That's our job, to spend the money of the taxpayers wisely. That's all, and that's what these questions are about.
Right now, if we could do the contingency, we will have, right now, we have 15 kids, CPSE kids waiting, and we have 20 UPK kids that we can take in with the contingency, so that none of them will be waiting. And if you think of 15 kids and you got almost $50,000 per kid, you're already saving like $700,000. So, you know, you have to look at, yes, it's a lot of money for the build out, but yes, I would love to have InterArts and be with InterArts longer than 5 to 10 years. If it's a great fit, I think it will be. But you have to also look at all those kids. If I could get 50 kids in there, that's 50 times $50,000 that we would be saving every year. So it's almost like, you know.
Go ahead, Bill.
I just want to say, when you keep seeing costs, both programs, a 5-month program that we're going to do in the interim, plus the full 5-year and 10-year, are all absorbed, cost absorbed. It's actually a savings.
We're paying it anyway right now.
But I'm just saying, you keep saying it's a cost, and you know, I know it is a lot of cost that we're paying, but when we bring the kids in, especially the major model, the 40 kids, that's going to drop the cost down very low. And
It's still a cost savings.
It's a cost savings. You know, the sheets tell you. I mean, will it be exactly that? I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts, but those build-out costs will be absorbed.
Actually, Erin, you said you had a question.
So so this is going to save us over, if we go the full 10 years, it's going to save us $1 million, essentially, right? It's going to save us $1 million.
A little less, but there.
Around about $1 million. So we're at, the savings there over 10 years are $1 million. So right there alone shows the potential. And that could grow if we choose to stay longer, or, and depending on the state, it could go different ways. We could have other places that open up and accommodate more. I mean, this is a flagship, so to speak, and I think, you know, with the projected numbers there, and as Valerie stated, you know, transportation costs go down, we're getting reimbursed by the school districts, we're able to recoup the money and the funding rather than giving them back to another place where we would be sending them.
I would like to clarify something, okay? If we didn't have the build-out costs, wouldn't there be an increased savings? Okay,
Absolutely.
so overall, spending as it is now, you're saying is going to be a savings from what is happening today.
Right.
But if we didn't have the build-out costs, we'd be saving an additional $2.2 million that can be invested in this program as opposed to...
Not 2.2, but, sorry for interrupting, but not 2.2. You know, there's a
I
lot
know
of
you can
factors in
interrupt
there
me.
that will drop it down to
Okay.
lower levels.
Okay, and just a couple of, I have some basic questions. What you've termed the contingency space, it says that's to treat, handle up to 40 kids, and that's a little under 3,000 square feet, okay? The other space is 12,000 square feet, and that's only going to service 100 kids. Could you just explain that?
More than that.
That's not what it says in the documents.
Well, it's around 100 kids, but it's, so if you put in, like I said, every class, you have to depend, you can't have more than 18 kids in a class.
Understood.
Okay, there's 9 classrooms. Some classrooms are smaller than others because of just the way that the makeup of the building is. So one class could only have 9 kids, some have 11, some have 16, one has 18. So obviously you have to range that. So if you add that all up, it's about 100 kids. So we're looking to have anywhere between 40 and 50 CPSE kids, and the rest be UPK.
And also special rooms, right, that accommodate.
And then,
this
yes, of
CPS.
course, yeah.
Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
understand how many, and the timing on this, okay? Your contingency, that needs to happen pretty, well, are there any build-out requirements for the contingency space?
No.
I would say, other than changing some locks, yes, there's some minor tenant improvement costs associated with that, but they're minimal. You know, obviously,
6,000.
so obviously, we want to change some locks.
Time
and things
frame,
of that
not
sort.
dollars, time.
So almost immediately. So other
Okay.
than, addressing some major issues.
So if we can get that going, then we know we're going to have, for school year, I apologize, Nancy, you had your hand up. I'm going to stop. You go ahead.
Thanks. Just want to clarify everything here. Sorry to review. It's $15 per square foot. Over 5 years, it's going to be $38.78 per square foot. By comparison, in 2018, this legislature, I think some of us, I wasn't, but some were on this legislature, approved, okay, at 15, how much a month are we talking about again? I'm sorry.
For the whole thing?
Yeah, with the rent per month. It was like, I just had it.
38,868?
No, per month. It's
$38.
$15,000 per month.
Well, that's
Just
without
for
the
the rent,
build-out,
that's
right?
without the rent. That's
Right, without the build-out. So, by comparison, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, in 2018, this legislature approved 6,000 square feet. Compared to, this is 12,000 square feet. So this legislature approved 6,000 square feet at $11,000 per month last I checked. And through the chair, if I may ask, if John Tully maybe knows the rent of the senior center in Cold Spring this year?
I don't have it with me, that's what I stepped up earlier to mention, that was one of the comparables that I looked at, and it was on par.
Well, way less. I mean, this is, I think, way less than,
The square footage is less.
square footage is way less, and the rent is 11,000
It's $22 a square foot.
right now.
It's, what you just quoted was $22 a square foot.
Well,
We're at 15, but
You're at, no, you're at 38.
That's with the build-out.
The 38 includes, the 11 is not the only number.
It doesn't include the build-out.
There was also, if you're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah,
that's
please.
not a fair comparison, because there was also an investment by the county of significant dollars, over, I think, 1.6 million up front, that if you amortize that over the term of the lease, we'd be right on par with where we're at. So it wasn't a walk-in $11 a square foot.
I wasn't on the legislature when that was passed, but that was,
The project
and
manager
by the way,
is in the back left.
by the way, the legislature, as I understood it, had many, many, many months to discuss, debate, and
If I
read the
can
lease.
continue, through the chair, if I can continue, I'm just trying to make that comparison, 6,000 square feet as opposed to 12,000 here. And
It's a very good
What-
comparison, in my opinion.
Me too, that's why I brought it up. And I just, again, I'd like to make a statement about, it seems our focus here is on the dollar, and as we found out, and Bill pointed out clearly to me as I kept saying cost last meeting, there is a savings, and I do respect your attention to our fiscal responsibility. But like the senior center in Cold Spring, this is another example of a desperate need for a service in Putnam County. I'm going to bat here, it's not even in my district. It's really, you know, it could serve my constituents somewhat, but, you know, it might be easier for them to go to Peekskill or Yorktown or you know, other places. So, you know, I wholly advocate for this, and I think we need to plan here. This isn't a choice between responsibility and progress. We need to plan. The current plan leverages braided funding. So we're talking about building out at a different location or going to a location that doesn't need the build out, but then we're losing the partners that we've established. That makes this a very attractive deal. This, one of the biggest reasons for me in advocating for this is the partners you're taking on with this. And it's a wonderful organization, and
Just
it's,
through the chair, to the extent we're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of the lease terms and things that we really should go into executive session.
okay. I'm not going to name names, I just,
Well, I think that's pretty public, that
Yeah.
this is with Rooster and Carmel Central.
okay. But you're talking about, I get it. So, I think I said this before, we're investing in children, not in bricks and mortar, and we are saving money based on what we spend in the current model that doesn't serve anyone, especially not the children who sit on the buses for hours. Delaying this project doesn't have costs, even though in my original statement I wrote it has costs. I'm confused here because there seems to be a great concern about costs, but I'm hearing that it's a huge savings. But it's on the 3- and 4-year-olds stuck on long bus rides. That's the cost that I see. And that, to me, is the most crushing thing. That's the cost I'm concerned about, not so much about the cost to the county when we do have a lot of money to spend here and we have a wonderful opportunity. So we know that the working families, there's no nearby childcare, and children with special needs deserve early support. Every month of delay is another missed opportunity for a child who could be thriving. So let's not pretend that slower is smarter here. The administration has spent months reviewing, touring, presenting, and planning this initiative. Every relevant agency has weighed in. The county executive has made his team available to us at our own personal. We can pick up the phone and call anybody. No, maybe we can't convene a meeting because it would violate open meetings laws. But I could call anyone at any time that's an expert in this project and get the answers I need. Law department, you guys, highway, sorry, DPW. So there's a lot of Putnam families here that are watching. The kids who will benefit from this program can't speak for themselves and are counting on us to act. So please, let's not keep them waiting.
Thank you. I got some general type questions with timing, okay? Because I'd like to find a way to move this forward as rapidly as possible without being wasteful. The large space, when, you know, from my knowledge is it's probably going to take 3 to 4 months to build out that space. When do you plan on having students in that space?
So depending on when the build-out is complete, having the contingency space, we're sort of assuming a 5-month window. You know, but obviously that's sort of the parameters we'd be working under. We would hope to sort of be able to meet that timeline. So 3 to 4 months is kind of the ideal.
Is your objective to have children there in January of 2026 or September of 2026?
January.
January, okay, because we've been, and I'm asking this because we've been saying next year. Well, having kids in school year to me begins in September. So I want to clarify that, okay. So we're looking at 3 to 4 month build out on that space, okay? One of the things that I said in public, and I'll say it again, is that this is going to be taxpayer money, and I want to make sure that all the workers who are working on this are legal, tax-paying workers, and I wanted to have E-Verify and I-9 because these are public dollars and they should go to valid American workers and valid alien workers who are here. Okay, that's something that I've yet to see. Something else which I picked up is that in addition to all the costs, I see there's a fee that the landlord is tacking on top of the overall cost of the build-out. Were you aware of that?
This is a specific item in the lease term that should be discussed in executive session.
Okay, so now we have to put that on the executive session. So the timing, what do you feel as comfortable timing that we need to get both leases approved?
So we were hoping to have that happen as part of this evening's process, in that we have to finish the paperwork to the state. You know, that requires that we have leases so we can move forward. That then allows us to seek insurance and sort of get, you know, the other components of the processing that's required to get at least the contingency space open by September.
And through the chair, the leases are contingent on one another, so both need to be executed.
That's the first we've heard of this.
No, that was explained at the last session. I apologize if it wasn't understood, but they are contingent upon each other.
So you're telling me it's all or nothing? We can't do one versus, we can't get moving and get these kids so we know that they're going to be in September, and if we had another week or two to iron out some things and get them in January.
The leases are contingent upon one another. You can't have a contingent space being held for the purposes of a build-out if there's no build-out occurring.
Whoa. Any other questions from any legislators? Legislator Adenizio and then Legislator Sage.
Thank you. I think I mentioned this last time at the last meeting, but if the facility wouldn't be ready till January of next year, what would happen to the children that are already placed in another school? How would they come mid-year?
They just have to ask for a CPSE meeting, and then they would be able to transfer.
So wouldn't they have to do that for like September, October, when they're in? No? How long does that usually take?
It's just a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just wondering about that, yeah.
So, yeah, they could ask for it any time.
Mm-hmm.
The parents can, and then they could transfer it any time. If there's an opening, it could be as quick as a couple of weeks. And it would probably be easier for the transportation anyway. It also will set us up nicely for the annual reviews for the school districts, where they review, and then, then we would be full in September.
So hopefully it would be like after the winter break.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, Legislator.
If I may, and please, as the real estate expert in the room, Legislator Yankee, you can tell me that I'm wrong, and I don't mind. You told me worse. Just a quick internet search, just a quick Google search, if you want to talk about market value of space in Putnam County. Office space is $19 to $26 a square foot. That's this year. So a 4,000 square foot place in Brewster is $19 a year. So for us, it's $15. In Cold Spring, it's $26. Industrial space is $17 to $18.50. So examples are $17.75 for a square foot for a 5,400 square foot building in Brewster, $18.50 for a 2,800 square foot building in Carmel, if that helps.
You're comparing to $15, but it's really $38.
That's with the build out.
That's with the build out. I understand that.
Right.
I understand.
That's what jumped out.
That's what our kids deserve.
I'm not arguing that. I have a question for council.
Sure.
Are these leases in their final state?
Yeah. They just need to be dated and signed.
There will be no amendments?
No, they're in final, and that's what's being presented for your approval.
Okay. In the resolution, some language, the second to last final resolved clause says, resolve the county attorney is authorized to take whatever legal action is necessary to effectuate the lease agreements for the premises for the purposes of establishing the Putnam County Early Learning Center, a Think Differently initiative in the manner approved herein. What does that mean?
What it means is that if there's any, let's say, legal action that needs to be taken in order to ensure, let's say, the fiscal responsibility clause or something like that, if there's some provision that needs to be addressed in order to effectuate what you direct in the resolution, we would take that action.
Are you taking this as authorization that if you wanted to file a suit against someone or a corporation, that this allows you to do that?
Yes, if it's to effectuate your directive, correct.
Okay. I have a problem with that language, because that's the language that got us in trouble with another property.
Are there any questions of the audience at this time? Oh, sorry, Legislator Sage, apologies.
So we're talking, so when you're talking about the kids, in the program initially is going to be 12 special needs kids.
Right now I have 15, so I could top out at 15. I looked at that thing, so.
Okay,
yeah.
so there possibly be 12, up to 15 special needs kids. And then how many could possibly go into the build-out space? 15.
Oh, you mean 40? Yeah, 40 special needs.
So 40 special needs. Yes, and that's the transportation that we would be saving on those 40 kids.
Correct.
Is that savings in here someplace that are missing?
Yeah, it is. It's on this first sheet.
Like the first page over these.
Yep, I mean, annual savings projection, that's where it is. You can see it's a
And
saving,
it could be more, we're just,
it's a savings of
estimating.
$500,000 estimated.
Okay. And I'm looking at this page now. So this is for the reason 1 through reason 5.
Yep.
So the first part is the total build-out costs. We pay 65% of the build-out cost in the first 5 years. Is that correct?
Yep.
So that would equal the 1.4 million.
1.43, yes.
1.43.
Yep.
1.43 million. 1.4 is reflected here on the bottom of the breakout build-out costs.
Well, I just did this because there was a question about getting to
Through
the
chair,
square footage.
We're getting into the nuances of confidential
But
documents.
this is in the.
Yes, and the packet was that all the attachments were marked confidential. So that's meant for executive session if we want to discuss.
This is not more confidential.
I think it's online too.
Yeah.
Let me just check.
Number 3.
So the spreadsheets from finance are considered confidential?
They were not marked confidential.
Okay, I mean, I was,
They were posted on the internet, right?
They didn't come to us as confidential.
Okay.
It's not from, it's from finance. It's not
okay.
from- it's not
Oh,
from-
okay, I apologize. I thought it was
Shem.
the budget that was.
So the 1.43, that is the build-out cost that we're going to pay in the first 5 years.
Yep. And that's the breakdown across. And if you see the breakdown of the build-out costs, how you get to the 2.2 million, you can see that. The hard construction cost is 1.5, design architect and engineer is 100, and the
But I
finance
thought we
is
indicated
580. Sorry?
1.43 of that, of the build-out.
Yeah, so the 2.2 goes up there, and then we're paying 65% of all those costs down below.
65% of the total build-out cost of 2.2.
Yeah,
Is that right?
of 2.2, which is 1.43, right?
Okay, oh, I see. Oh, so. There you go.
Okay.
I'm looking at this, I'm not reconciling my brain.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And then, so, the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep. It changes a little bit because of,
35%.
right, so it goes down to 32.80 per square feet.
So the 35% is
Yeah.
775 that we pay over the next
Yep.
5 years.
But your square footage goes to 20. That's what the lease says. So the 20,
Square footage goes up $5 a square feet.
$5,
a square
and
foot.
then the build-out goes down, $12.80. And the total is $32.80, which
Is
is
that
what?
including the finance costs in both of those?
Are you including the
Should it be-
surcharge?
I mean, it's
Am I including what now?
7.5% financing cost is in both.
Well, I'm just including, I don't know where the finance costs exactly are going to lay, but I'm including 2.2 million as it's spread out that way.
Okay.
Did you include the landlord surcharge in your calculations?
And then on top of that, we're going to be paying for there was another spreadsheet that has the cleaning and.
That's additional costs that are part of the system, yeah, if you look at.
That's additional, that's on top of this.
Yeah, sure.
And on top of that would be also furniture and desks and smartboards.
And the person is going to run
And
it.
is the taking care of all of that as well? So it might not end up being savings in the end. And so
No,
if
that's-
we save up
It's
front.
It's all included.
Yeah, it's all included, and it definitely would be a savings, because if you think about, just like even if we move in January and I have 40 or 50 kids, multiply that by $50,000. That's how much that it costs. So, it's really, we're spending that money anyway. It's just, you're gonna have a bit of a savings, but it's gonna be closer to home, better for the children, less on the bus, and about a high-quality education.
And that $50,000 per child comes from the school district?
We were paying.
We're paying that.
We pay that now. So if we put them in this place, it's not gonna be $50,000. It's gonna be maybe 22,000 per kid. So you calculate that, plus then you're taking all those kids and getting them out of Westchester, you're cutting transportation almost in half.
And then we're taking pre-K children on top of that. And And that funding comes from the pre-K kids, is from the state, or is that from the school districts?
The UPK?
Universal.
The school districts pay for them 100%. We don't pay a dime for them. We only have to pay for the CPSE kids, the Committee on Preschool Special Education. So we're paying 100% for them now. We do get reimbursed from the state. We always will. Even in this program, we'll still be reimbursed for the state.
The gentleman had a question. Please come up, state your name, where you live.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Joseph Baldanza. I work for Consumer Affairs. I'm the enforcement officer for the county with regards to construction. And what I would request is that any contractors that do work for the county, that they be registered and licensed by Putnam County. Because as an enforcement officer out there, I've noticed that we've had some projects where we have unlicensed or unregistered people working on the jobs that are in the county. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
No, thank you. And just for clarify, the county is not hiring the contractors. The way this is currently structured is that the landlord is going to be hiring the contractors, but I completely concur with what you're saying.
Can I just clarify something? Are you finding county jobs you're finding unlicensed?
On several, yes, in the past.
Okay.
It's been addressed, but just going in the future, if you would basically specify that any county jobs that the contractor is working on, it must be registered and licensed by Putnam County. This way, we're not getting,
I understand. I'm really surprised to hear that we have.
We require project labor agreements.
We have to see that.
I'm not sure, Mr. Baldanza, what projects you're talking about, but I think that if you want to discuss that with me separately, I'm happy to hear it. Because I'm not aware of any county project that's been paid for by county funds where there was illegal contractors on there. We have a pretty good vetting process set up through our procurement. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. So you're sure there were Putnam County paid jobs that you want to correct yourself?
There were jobs in the past.
When you say past, I'm sorry for not.
I need to clarify this.
Within the last 5 to 10 years. I'm not saying recently, but this is.
I've been on the county legislature 6 years, so I need to know that a job that I approved. I need to know that a job I approved was legit and not illegal.
I would just like to, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, sorry, through the chair, the building that we're talking about, that CBS has, recently underwent a significant renovation for their occupancy. And
it has nothing to do with it.
It had nothing to do with that, right? We're clear about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Before Legislator Sage, are there any other parents, public who would like to speak? Okay. Legislator Sage.
I mean, I don't want to put a can of worms, but I think there was some talk about a pilot program that had some workers that were not registered in Putnam County. And they were getting, there were a pilot program in Putnam County, and there was some discrepancy there. And somebody from the EDC reached out to me to talk about that. Maybe that's part of what he's talking about, but it's certainly a good point and something that we will certainly keep an eye on.
Okay. Any other legislators or committee members that have any questions? Yes, Chair, Mr. Goldman.
What timeline was that? Do you know off the top of your head?
Can we stay on top, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If you don't mind, let's stay on
What
top.
timeline was that? Last year?
We have a lot of
5 years?
parents in the room here. Okay.
She said last year.
Thank you.
To the county attorney, there's no way of separating and getting this contingency done now.
You have to do it together.
Why?
Because in order to commit to a lease and a contract, you wouldn't commit to a contingency space if there's not going to be any future space. You can't sign a lease for something as a contingency if there is no contingent factor. That's what makes it a contingent lease.
Is there someone from CBS here tonight? Yes, good, okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I apologize to the public. I'm going to hold the meeting. We're going to go into executive session.
2, 3, again?
Make
Go over
Thank
this
you.
again.
a motion, go into
Do I-
executive.
Do I have a second to go into executive session? All those in favor? Aye.
Is that thing on?
Thank you. I just went off.
I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No action was taken. Legislator Yonke, you had mentioned that there was a resolution. I'd like to see if we can clear that up now regarding the change.
That'll be in this, the special meeting.
Oh, it is not, does not have to go through physical?
It's part
The
of
resolution.
yes, it's part of the
3B.
resolution. Yeah.
Is the resolution,
Say to modify it.
There's two resolutions. Yeah, there's one for the interim, one for the. There's three altogether.
yeah, but that's for the special full, right?
But it's in the special physical, so if you have an amendment.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, we should do the
I don't see the resolution in here. I'm sorry. It is here.
2025?
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to amend the second to last resolved paragraph, just to say that the county attorney is authorized with legislative approval to take whatever legal action is necessary, et cetera.
Second. Any discussion on this amendment? Committee?
He didn't call for, no, he asked for
For
discussion.
discussion.
Called for
Discussion.
discussion.
Discussion. Committee? The public? No? Okay, so I'd like to call for a roll call vote, please.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator Yonke,
Yes.
and Chairman Bellman.
Yes. So now we have the modified resolution here, and I'd like to put that up for approval.
Are we doing 3A?
Yeah.
It's 3B.
You already modified, but we didn't.
We modified
we modified it,
3A.
So now we have to accept it.
Heather, could you-
3B, are you approving 3B as amended? And then
Yes.
Elected 3As? Okay. So you made a motion to,
Approve 3B as amended. So now.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So now we're looking at 3A, which is to approve the Early Learning Center, Think Differently initiative. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone in the room? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved,
Thank you.
okay? Now.
To adjourn.
Now, I just want to double check, now we technically have to approve the leases, is that correct, Heather?
Yes,
Okay,
And a
and should we do it separately?
yes.
Okay, okay.
We did
And how would we do this, because like I say, that condition that I have for E-Verify and I-9?
You could do a motion to amend, and we can amend, and we can effectuate the actual final version of that amendment.
Okay. So I would like to amend resolution for the interim lease to now include the language that contractors working on this job must utilize E-Verify and the I-9 form. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Discussion by legislators other than the committee, discussion by the public. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So now, I'd like to move that we approve the as amended interim lease for the Putnam County Early Learning Center with community-based services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion of the committee. Legislators, public. I'd like to have a roll call vote, please.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
And Chairman Elder.
Yes. Now I'd like to amend the lease, which I've been referring to as the long-term lease for the Putnam County Early Learning Center with community-based services, to add the additional language that all contractors on that project will comply with E-Verify and I-9. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion by anybody? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now I'd like to move for approval the lease, which I've referred to as the long-term lease for the Putnam County Early Learning Center. No, that was the amend. We approved the amendment, now we're approving the lease.
Right.
Okay?
As amended.
As amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator Yonke,
Yes.
and Chairman Elder.
Yes. So everything has been approved. Before we adjourn, I just want to thank everybody, including the public, for making this happen. This is a wonderful initiative. I'd like to adjourn the Special Physical Services meeting. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you have to stay with the special. Amendment.
Good evening and welcome to the special meeting of the Putnam County Legislature. Today is June 10th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Yonke, please lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the legislative prayer. I call on Legislator Ebenezer Losers.
We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us. May we always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery.
Present.
District 2, Legislator Goldman.
Present.
District 3, Legislator Adnizia.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Russo.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Elner.
Here.
District 6, Legislator Yonke.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Birmingham. District 9, Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 8, Chairwoman Sage.
Present. Okay, we have before us this evening, agenda item number 4, which is an approval for a Putnam County Early Learning Center, I think differently initiative, located in Paterson, New York. The first thing on the agenda is a resolution. I will see if there is any discussion. As amended, yeah. I will make a motion to approve agenda item number 4. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Anyone on the committee? Legislatures? Anyone from the public? And just as a note, we're making the approval based on the changes that we just made in our special physical. Roll call vote, please.
Excuse me, I don't think there was a change on this one. On
thought
this
there
one
was.
too? I thought it was just the least one.
There was a
There's
Oh, at
language.
the
paragraph on the
last
bottom, on the resolve.
Yeah.
The last paragraph of the resolve, we had amended the, as per the legislative
Okay, I
approval.
thought that was the least one.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Adnizia.
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham. Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Elner.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to agenda item number 4, this is 5. This is an approval to enter into lease agreements by and between the County of Putnam and the Community-Based Services, Inc., and for short-term and long-term leases of the premises located herein denoted as 40 John Barrett Road, Paterson, New York, for the purposes of utilizing such premises for a provision of universal pre-kindergarten services to eligible resident children, as amended in the Physical Committee. I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Legislator Yonke.
This is a great partnership that we're about to enter into. I hope that we can have another facility at some point on the other side of the county. This is something that was said in executive session. It's not executive session material. The county has been working on this project for about a year. The first I learned about it was in April of this year when a very nice presentation was made. We were given a copy of a lease, and the backup came to us in May. There's a lot of information that came through. We were told basically pass the lease immediately. I think it was, we had an imminent timeline were the words that we used. We had a deadline of, I believe it was June 15th. I don't think that we were given, it was not fair to the legislature to be given such a short period of time to digest all the information that was given to us. And I hope that in the future, if we do build another facility, which I'm hopeful that we do, that the process is rearranged and that we do a better job, or that the administration does a better job in including the legislature into what they want to do. Thank you.
Anyone else? Legislator Anisia.
I'm glad to see this move forward this evening. I think that this initiative is very, very important for our children and the impact it will make. I think that this innovation for them will make a real difference in their future. And again, I'm glad to see it move forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I'd just like to thank everyone who put all their hard work, time, and energy into this project. I know it's been a long process, from the Health Department to DPW to the administration. I appreciate all the hard work that you've put into this. But the legislature, we also have to do our due diligence. And I would like to also echo what Legislator Yonke said. It's our honor and to be elected officials and to act on behalf of our constituents, to do the best thing we can, and to look after the checkbooks of our taxpayers. And that's exactly what, that's the reason for all this back and forth and these rushed meetings. We're trying to accommodate our health department. We're trying to accommodate this early learning center that we all value so much. But we still have to do our jobs as legislators, and we can't just push something through and then ask questions later and wonder what happened. So we really have to do our jobs as legislators, and I'm pretty proud of everybody for really asking all the hard questions, and I thank you all for putting up with us, but we're just trying to do our job. So with that, I will call for a roll call vote.
Legislator Adnezio.
Yes.
Legislator Birmingham. Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Elner.
Yes.
Legislator Goulman.
Yes.
Legislator Yonke.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Russo.
Yes.
Chairwoman Sage.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome to the Personnel Committee meeting. Today is June 10th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislative Board member, you lead us, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Adenizio.
Present.
Legislator Buhlman.
Present.
Chairman Yaki.
Present. Item number 3 is the acceptance of the Personnel Committee meeting minutes on April 8th, 2025. I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 4, I'd like to make a motion to accept the additional. It is the approval of a fund transfer for the Health Department. It's for the former interim Commissioner of Health payout accruals for the Health Department. Mr. Eldridge, you're here. Did I make a motion to approve the additional?
No one seconded.
Oh, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Does everybody have it? Just briefly, Mr. Eldridge, can you just go through
Yes. As I
the
think
background?
Yes, I think you all know that Dr. Neshwat, Michael Neshwat, had been our Commissioner of Health for about 9.5 years. It was quite a journey along the way, from the beginning until we hired a public health director. With the transition from a commissioner to a public health director, there was a requirement to have a medical consultant. During that 9.5 years, the commissioner had earned and used vacation and so forth. He obviously led us through measles epidemic, or outbreak, not epidemic, excuse me, and also through the COVID-19 pandemic. And the end result was, as he transitioned from a commissioner to a medical consultant, he had requested that he be paid out for his vacation time as commissioner. If he had left, he would have been paid out for it. The question was, if he's moving to another position, would that still be treated the same way? The feeling of the administration was that, he had served us well, that he also was stepping up again, this time as medical consultant, which is required if you have a public health director. If you have under 250,000 population, the alternative is you can't have a public health director, but then you must have a physician medical consultant. And he took up that request, and so the feeling was that, in all fairness to him, he should be paid for his hours earned while he was commissioner at the rate of pay that he was earning as commissioner, as opposed to the less than half that is paid to him as medical consultant. So that's the request that you have before you.
Thank you. I appreciate the backup, which is why we tabled it last month and brought it forward to this month. I would like to thank Dr. Neshwat for his dedication and his service to the people of Putnam County. He really stuck around for the people of Putnam County, and his heart's as big as his head. He's a good guy, and I'm going to support this. Any discussion from the committee?
Sure, yes, I agree with you. I would like to thank Dr. Neshwat for all his hard work and dedication to Putnam County. He even graduated from Carmel High School, so
yes.
He's been here a long time.
Yes.
Anyone else on the committee, on the legislature? Anyone from the, yes, legislature?
I'd just like to thank Dr. Neshwat. I also, I get to see him at the Board of Health meetings, and I learned that he was previously a consultant for a director for Putnam County in the past, which I didn't even realize we had a director in the past. But
We
he said he
actually had
was
a
also,
director all the way up until Dr. Hamler came in as our first commissioner.
yeah, so he's done this before. He's got quite a long storied past here with Putnam County Health Department. He knows everything. So it's going to be beneficial to us to have him continue, and I'm in favor of this as well.
Legislator Elner.
I also want to thank Doc Mike. He's been outstanding. In addition to all his duties that he's done, exemplary for the Health Department, where he's done wonderful work. I recall that there was a swearing-in ceremony where someone became extremely ill, and Doc Mike picked it up from the gallery and saved that gentleman's life, took him to Putnam Hospital. So Dr. Mike has always been there, and I'm very, very pleased that he's staying on.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item number 5 is the approval of a fund transfer in the Health Department, fiscal tech retiring. He'll work as a temporary employee, provide training. Mr. Orr, can you give us just a synopsis of what we're doing here?
You have a letter before you, I think, that her request to me on why she is retiring. We'll go into it. So we're going to bring her back. She's going to retire, collect her pension, and then she is under 65, therefore she can only make $35,000. So that's what you have before you, is a request to put her on a temporary line for $35,000, and I will regroup the work within what we have. She's a valuable employee, very valuable. She's been with me for 22 years, and we want to continue to work with her. I value her work.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from the committee? From the legislature? Anybody from the public? I'll make a motion to approve the fund transfer. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item number 6 is the approval of a fund transfer. The Health Department Senior Fiscal Manager to retire. He will remain nameless. Will return on an hourly salary, providing support to the Health Department fiscal and administration needs, including the 2026 budget preparation. Thought the day would never come, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I'm going to retire the 26th of June. And I talked to the administration. I'm probably going to stay until next June, full-time. So this is similar to what you just saw on the other one. It's a 6-month salary that's going in. And since I'm over 65, I can make as much as I want, you see.
You didn't have to disclose that. You didn't have to disclose that.
I know that.
Any questions of the committee?
What if we vote no?
Can't retire.
I can't believe you're over 65.
I can't either.
All right. I shouldn't have said that, huh?
Yeah.
Any questions from the legislature, discussion, any members of the public? Well, we're going to be happy to keep you around.
For a little bit.
I'll make a motion to approve the fund transfer. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 7 is the approval of a fund transfer also in the Health Department. It's payout accruals for retirement of senior fiscal manager. This is the funding.
Payoff for the vacation.
Oh.
That I have to take, so, and I
Okay.
will take it.
Any questions from the committee? Legislature? Any members of the public? Make a motion to approve this fund transfer. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 8 is an FYI. It's a fund transfer. It's the Office for Senior Resources. It's transfer funds between budget lines. Is anybody here to speak to this? It's an FYI. Mr. Eldridge, are you
Sorry to say I'm not.
familiar with this? It says pay differential for OSR staff working out of title to cover responsibilities of vacant
Oh, yeah.
positions.
Yes.
Can you just give it just a quick?
Yeah, there's a vacancy, a higher level vacancy, and 2 people have stepped up to fill in that work until we can find a replacement for the higher level vacancy.
Okay, thank you. That's an FYI, does not require,
Zero fiscal contact.
wait a second. Here it says it's an FYI fund transfer. And here it says fund transfer request.
I would think think that wouldn't be an FYI.
Yeah, the 17
It's a
passes.
signature for audit.
Okay.
Okay, so
So it's FYI.
we have to approve it to send it to
No,
audit?
no.
Or it's just going to go to audit? Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Item number 9 is an update, preliminary report, Catapult Consulting Firm, Putnam County Titles and Compensation. We have our Personnel Director, Mr. Eldridge, and the Deputy Personnel Officer, Adrian Iasoni. Welcome.
Thank you.
You waited long enough, sorry. I had made a request for an update. Last year during the budget process, we set aside some funding for, bless you, for a consultant to do a study on job titles and compensation. And we're just looking for an update on that. It's June, so we just thought we should know what's happening.
Yes, we're making very good progress. The company that was hired was Catapult Consulting, Compensation Consulting. And we've worked with them. You know, we had done some research about them.
Bless you.
Bless you again. And being part of NISAC and also being part of the New York State Association of Personnel Civil Service Officers, this name kept coming up. So we checked with a couple of other counties, and they said they do an excellent job, but they also are reasonable. Those two words mean a lot to me. So we worked with the purchasing department and worked out for their hire. That process took us through about the end of March. We then submitted a ton of information to them. I have some charts here that I'm sure you wouldn't want to be bored with, but covering about 15 to 20 factors that they wanted to know about each of the positions. It's actually 40 positions, but it covers 111 people, so it's a fairly large chunk of the employees. And so we had to give profiles on all of those individuals, specifications for their jobs, the number of people that they supervise, who they're supervised by, et cetera, about 15 to 20 factors. Got all of that together. They then do a both governmental and a private sector review. And there's actually something that's available that I was not aware of, but apparently you need to pay for their data, and that's probably why I wasn't aware of it. And that's the Economic Research Institute. And they break it down by regions and areas, and each are about a 50-mile radius. And so there is one for the Carmel area, which I was not aware of, but then they looked at that 50-mile radius. So they provide both governmental comparables, but they also do the private sector ERI from the Economic Research Institute. I will tell you that when we first got the initial information, they had put forth 10 peer group counties, and in all honesty, there were 3 counties in there that I didn't think belonged in there. Instantly, they agreed to the one, weren't sure actually why that was in there. And the other 2, as we talked about it, they felt that they probably were really out of our market. So it's down to 7 counties, and I think they make sense. Then with the Economic Research Institute, the New York State Association of Counties, which does a survey, and they also got a New York State Department of Labor survey for the Hudson Valley. They crunched a lot of numbers. They came back with a draft. We took a look at it, some things that I know Adrian has been working on just to conform everything so that we have it right in terms of the data that they have and that they're putting into the compilation. I don't know if you want to just touch base on that.
Well, really, we just wanted to confirm that they were in the proper unions. There are 7 CSEA titles, I think 5 PUMA, and then 28 management titles. So we just wanted to make sure everything was in the proper union and designated correctly.
And they looked at each person for their length of service in addition, because that, particularly with the union titles, and obviously public health nurses in the group, the nursing grouping, and you know, with the unions having longevities, steps, the so forth, management not, you know, we wanted to be sure that they had a clear understanding of how that was. There's a couple of things too related to, and I'll give one example. I don't want to dig into it yet because we still have work to do, but For example, one of the questions that they posed was, are all the coroners medical doctors? And they're not, of course, we know that. And so that's a factor that was important. They wanted to know full-time versus part-time, LFTs, whatever. And we really provided a lot of information to them, but they've crunched the numbers. We have some, I can give you a general statement that they gave to me, which was most of our titles are at or slightly below market. That combined with our insurance payments, can be obviously very problematic, and I think that's a major reason for some of our recruitment difficulties, or a major portion of our recruitment difficulties.
It's not something we didn't already know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, when you look at the numbers just alone, without the health insurance, we're at or below. But generally, and they said slightly below.
Okay.
And I was actually surprised that we were fairly competitive in most titles, but the combination of that with then the health insurance issue puts us in a difficult position for recruiting.
You think that you should have a final report by the end of the month?
I believe it will be there or slightly bleed into July. There's some vacations of people that are happening, myself included.
If you get it by the end of June, early July, can you maybe send us a confidential copy of whatever you have, and maybe we can get it on the July personnel agenda?
What I would want to do is I would almost want to be here for that, only because, if you just look at numbers, I think it loses a little bit of something.
Yeah.
So if you're patient enough to work with me, I will, make sure that you're fully aware of what we're doing and how we got to where we are.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? The legislature? Legislator
I
Singh?
think the big concern is the nursing shortage and how do we recruit and retain nurses. I think we touched on that a little bit at the Board of Health last night. There are maybe another nurse that's leaving, and we might be need to hire a little bit more strenuously. I'm just wondering, how did you come upon the 110, and how does that affect the nurses? That's what I'm most
Because, they
concerned
were
about.
reasonable, we were able to have the 40 titles, and that's why it spread to 111 people. But, the nursing unit is a number within that, obviously. But what we've seen is that the recruiting is difficult, but we have had, just in the last, I'd say from the latter part of last year through now, 25 applicants for public health nursing positions.
And we've
One of them-
hired.
What's that?
How many have we hired?
A couple, maybe?
That's.
Yeah, the issue is, though, a lot of them are looking for remote work. If they're not going to be in a hospital setting, if they're going to be in a governmental setting, they're kind of surprised that we don't have remote work.
Huh.
And I think there's probably, that the insurance is definitely a factor, but I think probably, following up with the folks, a lot of it was that they really didn't expect they'd have to come in 5 days a week and, working 7 hours, at an office. So that's a factor we may have to give some thought to. I mean, our type of work is not.
How do you perform nursing duties from your house?
But a lot of what we do is, they're compiling data, and they're, working on programs that they can do either by, computer work or communication.
Our public health director, he runs that department. I'll leave it for him.
I mean-
He's nodding his head that he looks like you can do it, so.
Can I ask you something else about the nurses? I mean, wouldn't that be a part of the study then? Because the nurses want, wouldn't that be something that they would study? Maybe we could split positions? I mean, could that be part of the data that they provide to us?
We absolutely.
That would be something I would like to see,
I mean, anyway, just.
Legislator Montgomery.
The state even does hybrid solutions. People work from home. It's common.
Yeah, there's been a reticence to do that around here, but it's definitely, and we just came back from a state association meeting, and there's a lot of people even in our business that are working partially remote.
Saves on overhead.
Anyone else from the legislature? Anybody from the public? All right, thank you. I'll move along to item number 10. Kind of goes hand in hand with this. This is an update about the Employee Insurance Review Committee. We've been talking about this for a long time. And I know that we have a review committee. It's been a year since, over a year since the bless you, the district attorney was sitting here and talking about the issue. I mean, it's been years that we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it, yeah. The formation of the committee, I forget that was done by the county exec when that actually happened. But,
I kind of thought that if me, you, and the deputy county executive got locked in a room for 3 hours, we could come out with something.
It might not take that long, actually.
But it's taken a year. We're sitting here and we still have the same problem that we had a year ago.
Yeah, this committee, I don't think, has been in existence at that, for that period of time. But, you know, your point is well taken that, you know, I'm hopeful. I'm not on the committee. None of us from the personnel department are on that, and that's fine. But there is a group that have been meeting on a regular basis. And my understanding from the communication that was, I think, sent for, if it wasn't this month, it might have even been, was it last month? That they're nearing the a comprehensive report. So I'm hopeful and expecting that we have it very soon, almost coincidentally with this report.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Legislature? Public? Okay, thank you for your update.
You're very welcome. Sure.
Item number 11 is an FYI. It's your accident report. Please review it. And item number 12 is also an FYI. It's your incident report. We don't have any other business tonight, so I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. We still have another meeting if you want to stay.
Oh, please.
No overtime for you this week.
Good evening. Welcome to the Protective Service Committee meeting of June 10, 2025. Please rise for the pledge. Legislator Ellen, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Addonizio. Present. Legislator Birmingham. And Chairman Yaki.
Present. Item number 3 is the acceptance of the Protective Service meeting minutes of April 8th, 2025. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 4 is an approval for a budgetary amendment, request to hire Meridian Strategic Services to develop a continuity of operations plan for Putnam County. We have Commissioner of Emergency Services, Mr. Robert Lipton. We tabled this last month because we're looking for information. You got it?
You should have received the continuity operations work plan from Meridian Strategic Services. And what we were looking to do in there, you'll find a table that specified all the costs The only thing that we are planning to use Meridian Strategic Services for is for the core plan. And that's why Commissioner Lewis had, this was about a fund transfer to cover the costs of that first line. And then,
Core plan?
yeah, the core plan is just the plan for the county itself. It's the overarching plan for Putnam County Executive Office, the overarching plan. And then we are going to carry through ourselves and do the individual departments ourselves. The Bureau of Emergency Services needs its own smaller plan, satellite plan underneath that. Health Department, DPW is going to be done all in-house.
You say core, this is a COOP, this says COOP plan. What's the difference?
No. What I'm saying is if you look at the last page, page 13, it says the core COOP plan under the table of project estimation. Correct.
The core COOP plan.
Right, which is just the main overarching plan for the entire government.
Do me a favor, explain to me what that is and why we need it.
All right, COOP plan is continuity of operations plan. So in case something happens, it's an emergency situation, and the county executive is unable to fulfill his duties. He's either not here or unable in some circumstances. Who's the second person in charge? We know that would be deputy county executive. If the deputy county executive is not available, who then takes the reins and goes in charge? And it's an overarching plan for who is going to keep the county government running and in function.
We don't have that plan in place today?
We have remnants of a plan, but not a full plan in place. We kind of know.
But we need to spend $20,000 to decide who's running the county if the county executive's not around?
Well, it's not just the county executive. It also is going to cover the legislature, the county exec, all the functions of the county government. And like I said, then each department needs a smaller operational plan, which we're going to handle in-house.
Tell me the need, give me the need for this.
Say, for example, during the 2018 tornadoes that we had, and this building got hit by the tornadoes, and this building was down. The plan, we would pull out a plan that would say, all right, this is the second place that we would go, where we would go, how we would support government at that point, how we would keep government functioning at that point, where we would report to, who would be in charge, who would handle the situations.
I just don't understand that we don't have a plan in place already, and it's gonna, we gotta hire somebody for $20,000 to tell us what to do if the power goes out. It's just.
It's a plan that needs to be put in place, and no, we particularly don't have one in place at this point. We kind of know what we would do. We kind of, I don't want to use the term.
Use the term because I'm not getting it.
Oh, I wouldn't want to use the term that we kind of in it. But that's where we stand right now, because we don't have a plan that's written out that specifies. You know, like right now, what happens if we lose this building? Where do we go? We don't know.
total respect, you're the Commissioner of the Bureau of Emergency Services. Aren't you capable of making that decision?
Well, yes, but we need to have a plan written out, what steps we're going to take to do this whole thing, and that's what this is about.
Yeah. Well, you said, yes, you need a plan. Why can't you write the plan? Why can't you sit down, okay, with the county executive, whoever you have to sit down with, and write your own plan? I just don't understand why you have to pay $20,000 for somebody to write a plan that you, I think, are...
We could. This was
yeah.
brought to me as a proposal.
By who?
This is by the Deputy County Executive.
And who are they?
This is the same company that we use, Meridian Strategies, to work with us with FEMA. And they did a great job taking care of all the paperwork that we had to go through, and that's a long process. It took us, how many years it is, well, from 2019 flood, or 2022 flood. We broke them on, so it's been 3 years. They did a great job of processing and getting us through the FEMA disaster. So it was suggested that we get a quote from them to work on continuity of operation for us.
Legislator Crowley.
From what
You get a text from the Deputy County Executive?
No, I actually looked it up because Dutchess County implemented it, and it saved them $1.4 million because with them, they implemented, the program includes over 50 projects such as joint police, dispatching, shared drug task force, resulting in significant taxpayer savings. For instance, the joint drug task force combining resources from the county sheriff's office, district attorney, and local police department projected a $1.4 million savings. Livingston County has one, Essex County.
If that's the case, that should be something that the Commissioner brings us.
I just looked it up and just wanted to share it, that's all I was doing.
Yeah, well, that's something.
Plan for the county is essential to foster collaboration among not just the county, but also municipalities, streamline services, and maximize resources, working together with local governments to address common challenges such as infrastructure, public safety, economic development more efficiently and cost effectively. The COOP plan ensures coordination, decision-making, reduces duplication, and strengthens our community's ability to serve all residents effectively. Ultimately, it's about building partnerships and benefit everyone in the county. So I just looked up.
Maybe you can print that out for us. Maybe if you want to sit next to Commissioner Lipton?
I'm sorry, I want to understand it better too.
Yep.
And I was very surprised to see Dutchess was on here and that they actually recouped $1.4 million. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Any other comments?
I'm just thinking, for examples, and I was thinking back to the storms that we had. What year was that? When everything was down, I had no power for a week. And we went to the EOC. Yeah, and I went there to charge my phone and sat in on the operations where they had NYSEG and the EOC, yeah. NYSEG, the county executive, all the department heads. I mean, isn't that part of the plan? Is to, you engage the EOC and the EOC has their plans in place? Is that what this is going to do?
Well, the EOC we have plans right now for, severe weather, winter storms, tornadoes, things like that. In case the government gets hit and goes down, we don't have a plan in place for that right now.
And is that what, I would like to see what Legislator Crowley's reading out now. I don't see any of that in here,
Legislator Montgomery.
You can read Dutchess's plan, and our plan isn't done yet. That's why you don't see it in there. And Dutchess's plan was $50,000 by Tetra Tech. And I get it. I have the same feeling like, oh my God, we have this Bureau of Emergency Services Department. Why can't they together do this plan? But it does require coordinating with every department in the county. My feeling, as you know from the previous meeting on this, was if it's an imminent disaster that we're talking about, I really think, I would like to see our departments from all over the county involved, but that's not what this plan is about. You know, I've worked down at FEMA in Emmitsburg, Virginia, at their training center. That's what that's about, when you set up the EOC and you have disaster preparedness and recovery. That's not really what this is. This is like long-term, how is the county government going to function? But my question is, as I'm going like this, is really, there's got to be grant funding for this. And is there? I mean, we have the hazard mitigation funding. We have funding for that. I got a grant through the local government efficiency to study all of our emergency services a long time ago. Almost killed me.
Probably, they just wanted to get a move on this quickly.
Understand.
Who's they? Who's they?
The deputy county executive.
Okay.
To move quickly on this and get moving on it, because we don't have a plan in place. As good, this year's grant has already gone in, so come next year we could apply for it. And yes, grant funding would cover a consultant to do this work. We actually had, in the past, hired the consultant, it was John Gibb at the time, that we did all of our plans that we have in place right now. Our severe weather plans, our EOC operation plans. We had hired a consultant to do that, and that was all through grant funding.
I mean, if I may, through the chair, still have the floor. Having been in local government for a long time, having worked through an entire zoning code for our town, I know what happens with the $26,000, the $50,000 consultant. There's a lot of copy and paste, and here's your plan. I don't think we can reinvent the wheel here, but it just seems like we've been doing the same thing over and over again, and it's just, these things are available. Yes, we should definitely do it, especially with the nature of disasters, and they're just getting more frequent and worse, and we do need a plan, I agree, but I just think we could think outside the box, not necessarily with this, with everything, like, you know, with the personnel issue that we just said. I sit down before every budget season and I get all the information that they just talked about. You know, I know all that. I know that we're at or below salary rates compared to every other county. You know, this stuff we're doing, we can do on our own. We should be anyway before these meetings. I do think we need a plan, and I hope we can get grant money for it. Is it an emergency that we need it now and we need to spend the $26,000 right now? I don't know. 25,000.
Legislator Crowley.
In my discovery, I looked this up. It also says that Livingston County municipalities received $412,304 in state matching funds through the countywide shared services initiative. So that's another thing that once this is in place, that you can apply for to get, you know, to match any money that's spent through this program.
In other words, a lot of times you need to have this plan in place in order to get other funding.
I understand it, but the commissioner should be telling us that, not a member of the legislature on a Google search.
I didn't Google it, actually. I use ChatGPT.
I've experienced it.
Okay. Sorry, you want the honest truth.
I've experienced it, so if you want to know.
So right now in the charter, we have a chain of command that's different than this, is that correct? So like the county executive will appoint, you know, if he's incapacitated or out of the county, he appoints somebody. So this plan would usurp that authority, or would we have to incorporate this into the charter or the code? Maybe the
incorporated into the charter, then, because this would take precedence over
the charter doesn't go into detail.
The issue is that the county charter is incomplete in terms of gap filling. It doesn't provide a comprehensive plan for all departments, through all roles, through all county. And the idea is that in the event if there's a disaster, we are responsible for making sure there's a plan in place that provides for all governmental services. So it's not that it would usurp or change. Things that are already provided for in the charter would be reflected and mirror the plan. It's just that the plan would gap fill where the charter is silent.
Thank you.
Do you see gaps in the charter?
I haven't read the
It's good reading.
Any other discussion? I'm not prepared to move this forward. I don't know if you want to make a motion, but I'm not prepared to move this forward.
Wait, I would like to check into all the other counties too, and just see what they did. Have they implemented the same, initiative that you're talking about, or did they do their own? I would just like to, before we approve anything, I'd like to.
Tetra Tech did Dutchess,
Yeah.
same kind of company.
Yes. Yeah, please.
Do I have to sign in, or?
Please.
You have an hour and a half to talk.
I get a bump from the 40 minutes.
Hour and 28 minutes.
So Cassandra Roth, has my line. So weirdly, when I'm not doing farm stuff, this is actually part of what I do. So we do security assessment programs, things like that. So like looking at the backup documents, it is something that's standard buzzword, standard campaigns, right? But I guess my question is it grant money or is it allocated out of county funds?
Right now, it's out of county funds.
There are grants. If you're going to, in my opinion, as a member of the public, if you're going to do it, you would utilize the grants that are already there. That way you're not impacting anything unless there's a need that was identified.
I haven't seen any urgency that this has to be done this month, so we're going to kick it forward. I'm going to make a motion to table this. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lipton?
Watch the tornado come next month.
Item number 5 is the approval of a budgetary amendment. It's the Sheriff's Office grant funding for the Putnam County Sheriff's Bureau of Criminal Investigation. We have our Under Sheriff Lindert. Welcome. Thank you for your patience. Good evening. Can you just run us through what you're looking for here?
We're being reimbursed $12,000 from Homeland Security for work we have assisted with.
You said 12,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just flip the page.
Got it. Any questions of the committee? Members of the legislature? Members of the public? Thank you for your patience.
You had to stay all night.
Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Tom, thank you so much. Item number 6 is an FYI. It's 2024 and 2025 statewide interoperable communications targeted grant program. Commissioner Lipton, you're up again.
I was thinking the same, like, I look like right past him.
It's just the FYI.
This has nothing to do with the charter, right?
Yeah, no, this is just the FYI for the application for the statewide interoperability grant.
No matching funds.
No matching funds.
Okay. You don't need approval, this is just an FYI.
Thanks for going for it.
Any questions of the committee? Members of the legislature, any questions, comments? Legislator Elner?
How much would this be for us if involved? We submitted, it has, as usual, a very short timeline.
Yep.
It has to be submitted right away. I submitted for $3 million.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, thank you. We have no other business, so I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
You know how many times I've done that?